Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, we're going to be looking at the top 10 Raiders rookies I'm most excited to watch at Raiders Rookie Minicamp. Now, before we get into the top 10 list, there is some news around Minicamp that we'll try to take a little bit of a deep dive and just show you of why we're really making this video. But think about this, right? A lot of rumors around free agency, a lot of rumors around the draft. Now it's May, June, and July. I want you to hit that like button if you're fired up for some actual football activities, because don't get me wrong, this show is not for everyone. The Nation, it's not for everyone. And football in May, it's not for everyone. But it's for me. I bleed silver and black. I love football. I mean, shit, it's Mitchell Renz 365 for a reason. And if you're fired up for some actual football, hit that like button right now. So if you don't know the Raiders Rookie Minicamp dates, they are May 10th to May 11th. The Raiders and all NFL teams, you're allowed to do 3 days. Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco decided that 2 days was plenty. You drafted 8. You also have 17 UDFAs they ended up signing. So a lot of players you're going to be looking at, 25 in total. Also not impacting minicamp, but it is impacting training camp, is they might be moving to Costa Mesa, which is California. I don't remember the exact facility that they're going to be in, but it's just so damn hot in Henderson, Nevada. They have to get up so early every single morning. This I actually think would be a good thing. On top of that, if you have to go to a different location for training camp, I think it also means that you're going to be staying together as a team. And maybe I'm a sucker just because I love the movie. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, Remember the Titans, but can we get a little Remember the Titans action here with Antonio Pierce? I wouldn't be upset about it. Shit, turn into Denzel. Let's get it. So here we go. We're going to go from 10. We're going to work our way down to one of the top 10 rookies that I am the most excited to learn about, to hear about, to get information about during rookie minicamp. Coming in here at number 10, it's going to be Ron Stone Jr., UDFA from Washington State. And last year I really fell in love with Adam Plant Jr. Mr. Plant, if you're watching, hopefully you're doing well, my man. But Ron Stone Jr. is kind of like my new Adam Plant, where good edge player, going to give a lot of hustle, tenacity. It's all there. 60 tackles, 5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. The other reason why I'm just curious to hear more about him is because I know the Raiders defensive ends. Like, you got Crosby, Kuntz. Outside of that, Tyree Wilson on top of that. But, the depth there at edge, it's not all that great. Could he find a spot on the roster, especially if you're not thrilled of what happened to Janarius Robinson this offseason? Let's go to number 9 here on the list. It's Jaquan Sheppard, and money talks. The Raiders gave Ron Stone $170,000, which was the second most for all UDFAs. The guy that ended up getting the most guaranteed money, it was Jaquan Sheppard, cornerback from Maryland. 6'2", 200-pounder, 31 tackles last season, 8 PBUs. Also has a friendship with Jacorian Bennett, and what if one of the ways that you're really trying to get more out of Jacorian is you bring in one of his buddies from the season before to, maybe maximize his potential? And one of the things that just never gets talked about is if you got a young player in the NFL, brand new regime comes in, you might feel like you're one of the odd men out, and I don't think that Pierce wants him to feel that way. How does Sheppard work? What does he look like? Because to give a UDFA that much money tells me that this is one of the players that they're going to be keeping an eye on. Let's go to number 8 here, and it's Tommy Eichenberg, linebacker out of Ohio State, drafted in round 5 of this past year's draft at 148 overall. He reminds me a lot of Robert Spillane, and I'm kind of curious to see if the Raiders plan on using Eichenberg the exact same way that they use Spillane of, all right, if Spillane goes down, it's Eichenberg's turn to step up. Or are they trying to get 2 Spillanes at linebacker because nobody, and I mean, some people like the Spillane signing. I was not a fan of it, so, give me the big L there. But if you knew that it worked out, if you found a certain mold of a linebacker that you're like, this guy can be a Pro Bowl type of linebacker, why not try to go out and also draft somebody very similar to that role? So how they use Eichenberg, and what does that mean for Masterson? What does that mean for Bernie? What does that mean for Divine Diablo? Because I think a lot of people know Spillane's the main guy. Outside of that, what if they value Eichenberg more than Diablo because he's only got 1 year left on his contract, and the Raiders did decide to draft Eichenberg after all? So let me know down below. This is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show. Who is your favorite Raiders rookie this year? Not to watch at minicamp. I'm talking out of the 17 UDFAs, out of the 8 players drafted. Who is your favorite Raiders rookie this year? Let me know down below. You're about to get it with the YouTube bad break, so scroll on down and give me your answer. Let's go to number 7 here. It's Dylan Laube. Not my favorite rookie. My favorite's coming up here in just a little bit, and if you watch the show, you probably already know who it is. Laube, though, is a running back that I am excited to see what can he do in the backfield, because I know the Raiders decided to bring back Ameer Abdullah, and Ameer Abdullah is going to be your third down / kick returner, special teams running back. What happens if they just brought back Ameer Abdullah to be that special teams guy? Instead of bringing back DeAndre Carter on a contract that's going to cost you more than just bringing back Ameer Abdullah, you decide to bring back Ameer, you let him be special teams, and then what if the plan is to have Laube, who had over 700 receiving yards last season, the only player drafted in his conference, was the best player offensively in his entire conference, and kind of reminds a lot of people of Austin Eckler. Has good balance, can catch the football, can run between the tackles here a little bit. I really want to see how they use Laube, and I really want to see how they use Ameer Abdullah. Let's go to number 6 here. It's Trey Taylor, strong safety from Air Force. Bottom line is this. How does the number 1 defensive back in college football end up going in round 7? And some people are like, well, Mitch, he's not the best defensive back in college football. He won the award for it. He won the exact same award that Trevon Merrick won back when the Raiders took him in round 2, and everybody thought he was going to go in round 1. When I watched the tape on Taylor, I'll be honest, not somebody that should have went in round 7, and maybe it's because he's rocking an Air Force jersey of why he decided to slide just so far in the draft. Now, I never thought he was going to go in round 1, round 2, round 3. This was always a player that we projected to go in round 6, round 7, but what does it look like on field? Very smart player, works with Ed Reed, so he's cousins with Ed Reed. And then what does that mean for Chris Smith, Isaiah Paulomeo, 2 other players that I am just extremely locked into this offseason, because you do got a brand new regime. Yes, they decided to bring back Paulomeo, but Trey Taylor can do a lot of different things for you, and it also offers you that ability to play special teams. One of my biggest takeaways that I learned from the draft this past season, even the UDFA signings, is do they love football? Imagine you're taking a test. It's a yes, it's a no, or you're doing something on the internet, and that's it's a required answer, yes or no. If you checked no, you're not getting drafted by this Raiders team. You're not going to be a part of this organization. If you checked yes, they put you in a different spot. Every single player that the Raiders drafted, every single player that they signed as a UDFA, one of the biggest notes on those dudes is they love football. Trey Taylor loves football. I'm going to get into the top players coming up here on today's show, but before I do, I got to show some love to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Just make sure that you use code CLNS for that first-time deposit match up to $100. Now, I love Prize Picks because you can, and this is actually probably one of the best times of the year to do it because of the NBA playoff games. Whether you're watching Eastern Conference, whether you're watching the Western Conference, I know most of y'all are probably out there, but all you got to do is pick more, pick less. It's really that simple, and because they are the number 1 daily fantasy sports app out there, I've heard a lot of really good remarks from people that watch this show. People will hit me up, be like, Mitch, what are your picks for this week's game? Which I know it's easier to do for Raiders games during the regular season. Now, though, if I'm going to make any picks, it's going to be season long just because I trust my football knowledge. But I'd also be lying to say, there's not a night where Alex and I are just sitting down, we're not doing anything, and I go, hey, babe, can I watch the game? She says, yes, we watch the game together, put down $10, $20, opportunity to win some money for her and I, and she gets involved, I get involved. I also said the other thing about Prize Picks that I love is if, you're trying to teach your son or daughter sports, you're trying to teach your wife sports, have them pick a player that they love and then make something around that on Prize Picks. And then if you win, give them the money. I tell you this right now, they would be 100% down to watch sports with you all day, every day. Again, shout out to Prize Picks. I love using it. More or less, super simple to use. $100 deposit match. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Let's go to number 5 here on the list. M.J. Devonshire, cornerback from Pitt. I know he was drafted in round 7. This was a prospect, though, that we here at Chat Sports thought was going to go a little bit earlier than that. We had a round 5, round 6 grade on him. Long, lanky, athletic. There's no doubt about the fact that the Raiders, I think, are looking for long, lanky, athletic corners because it worked with Jack Jones. It's working with Nate Hobbs. And if you believe in your coaching staff from top to bottom, which they obviously do on the defense, could you get the most out of Devonshire, who had 32 tackles, 4 INTs, 10 PBUs this past season for Pitt? And when the ball's in his hands, he's an electric athlete. his technique's just not very good right now. And not that you can expect rookies coming to the NFL to have that technique down. I just expect it to be a little bit more crisp of where it's at. The reason why he's number 5 on this list is because, like, he's going to be going up against Ja'Cory. He's going to be going up against Decamerion Richardson. He's going to be going up against the Jack Joneses, where the cornerback room to me is still the one spot where I want them to add another guy to that roster. And if they don't do it, a lot of attention is going to be on that cornerback room, which falls there with MJ Devonshire. Coming up next here is my favorite player from this year's draft class for the Las Vegas Raiders. It's Jackson Powers Johnson, the offensive guard, former center of the Ducks. Remember, Tom Telesco called Andre James on draft night and said, hey, you're still going to be our starting center, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to draft Jackson Powers Johnson. You could put JPJ at right guard, at left guard. It doesn't really matter. All I know is he is going to be one of your starting interior offensive linemen. He is a born Raider, literally went to the Coliseum. Physical dude, going to beat the shit out of people, and I think it just goes to show of, like, what Telesco, what AP won. Where you might not win every game, but at the end of that game, you're going to be like, holy crap, my body is killing me. And Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be one of those players. And I just want to see where they line him up. Like, legitimately, just want to see where they line him up. Do they line him up at left guard? Do they line him up at right guard? Are they lining him up everywhere? JPJ is a player that I am locked and loaded into this offseason. Let's go to number 3 here. It's Brock Bowers. And kind of a lot of the reasons why I just mentioned here for Jackson Powers Johnson is kind of the exact same thing for Bowers. Where do they line him up? Are they going to line him up in the slot where he played 52% of his snaps last season for the Georgia Bulldogs? Are they going to line him up as an H-back where he had like 9% of his snaps last season at Georgia? Are they going to line him up out wide? Are they going to line him up as a tight end? Like, the ability that you're going to have here with Bowers, putting him all over the football field. And I also want people to just see how talented he is. Like, there's going to be reports. There's going to be things that come out, and they're going to be like, Brock Bowers is a different human being. And he is a different human being. The fact that he looks like he can do your taxes is why people maybe don't take him as serious. Of kind of like the Hunter Renfrow effect, where somebody looked at Hunter Renfrow and they're like, no way that guy's in the NFL. If I showed you a picture of Brock Bowers, you'd be like, that guy right there I would trust with my taxes. And Bowers, I actually probably would trust him with my taxes. But when you see him go out there on the football field, dude is a talented human being. I mean, I'm me for believe, all caps, just say talented in our live chat. He is a hell of a football player, and I can't wait to watch him at Rookie Minicamp. So here's a fun little game. Again, Prize Picks, I love what they do. And even though we didn't talk about it exactly, right now the Raiders, you can do 2 season-long things around players with the silver and black. Both are Brock Bowers. So how about this? Give me a more, give me a less. 5.5 receiving touchdowns for Bowers this upcoming season. I think it's going to be more. Type M for more. I think it's going to be less. Type L for less. If you're like, Mitch, wait, I can do that on Prize Picks? The answer to that is yes. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Let's go to number 2 here. I got Delmar Glaze, offensive lineman from Maryland. And I just want to see how quickly he gets adapted to the NFL. I know that he's good in pass protection. Run protection is where he's really going to struggle, I think, at this level. But just like, the notes that Tom Downey had, one of the most respected NFL draft guys in the business, Tom said that he thinks he's going to play guard. What happens if they put Glaze at guard? And he's out there right away, and they're working him at right guard, they're working him at left guard. They never put him out there at tackle. The light bulb should be going off in your head. You go, holy shit, this guy actually isn't going to be competing with Thayer Munford to play right tackle. What if he's out there, though, right away at right tackle? That tells me that, okay, we're going to have an actual competition here with Munford. So depending on what the reports look like for Glaze, depending on where the Raiders decide to put him on the offensive line, because I do think that he can play tackle. I do think he could potentially be a backup guard in this league. Where they put him, that's really going to set up what this organization thinks of Glaze and where they think he could potentially fit with this offensive line and who he's going to be battling, whether it's Thayer Munford or maybe another backup position. But the number 1 rookie that I am the most excited to watch during Rookie Minicamp, it is Decamerion Richardson, the cornerback out of Mississippi State that they drafted in round 4 at pick 112. This guy's long, lanky, and he's a freaking hell of an athlete. This weekend, while I was packing, moving a few things, I decided to try to watch a little bit of tape on some of these players while I was doing just some of the odds and ends that I was doing while I was moving. And Decamerion Richardson is a fun freaking player, dude. He's 6'2", he's 200 pounds, he runs a 4.340, like 4.340, which I think the only faster time was like Quinion Mitchell at the combine. Like, dude is an unbelievable athlete who loves to tackle. his technique needs to get a little better. And I think when you look at some of the notes that we have on some of these corners that the Raiders ended up drafting, it was really good athlete, press man cover, not afraid to tackle. And I think what happened was last year they got a little snake bitten by Marcus Peters, thinking this guy's going to be able to lead this team. And instead, Peters was too busy tucking it between his legs and O-laying, where now they decided to go out and find some corners that are actually not afraid to tackle and be physical, because AP, Telesco, Patrick Graham, this entire room, they're confident in their ability to be able to get the most. Ricky Manning, Raiders cornerback coach, to get the most out of these guys and turn them into, all right, if you can be a freak athlete and we can work on your technique, well, let's get that one going. Because between Richardson right now, I don't know if it's going to be him, Bennett. I know they still have Brandon Faison on this roster. I just, in my heart of hearts, believe that he's just not going to make this team because of the money that you can save, $2.6 million moving on from Faison. But, like, the Raiders want to be a physical football team. I'm telling you right now, Decamerion Richardson is a really, really fun, intriguing player. But him up against Devonshire, him up against Jacorian Bennett, sign me up for that content all day, every day. So here's one more time my top rookies that I'm going to be watching at Raiders Minicamp, which is from May 10th to the 11th. If there is a certain name on this list that I missed, which I put all 8 draftees, and I put 2 players that the Silver and Black signed to a UDFA contract. Both contracts were the highest among guaranteed money that were given. Chugs mentioned the name Carter Bradley. Hey, if there was a name, I know this for a fact. I've been doing this show long enough. I made a top 10. There's 25 names available. I know that I missed the name that some of y'all want me to keep up to date with. So let me know down below. And remember, if you make it to the end of our shows, all I ask, if you're looking for more Raiders content, give me a follow on IG. Give me a follow on Twitter. We're going to do our best this offseason to keep you guys up to date literally everywhere on the internet.